What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with SPY and a couple of other tickers. But let me first say that I am not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And then don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. Anyways, when it comes to the market right now, SPY is looking very, very weak after all the economic data came out. The PMI report first came out, and this was actually very close to expectations. Then we had the services data coming out at 10 a.m. Everything was actually very close to expectations, if not a little bit better than expected. And there's still some strength being shown in the economy based off this data solely. Now, I don't solely, believe in data. I don't think that all this data is 100% accurate all the time. It could be very manipulated. But so far, the data looked kind of decent. And despite that, we still saw SPY in the market kind of like pop and a drop. And they just use the data as an excuse to just bring the market down the way they typically do. So, the market is looking very weak right now. What happened as soon as the data came out was we got a temporary pop on SPY. This was just another liquidity grab to trigger stops at 510. Then they smacked it back down. This thing's continuing to sink at 508. As we've lost 508.5, there's going to be a risk of us coming all the way down here towards 507.5 to 507. So be very careful as we approach the 507s. And we're going to be watching to see if that holds. If we do lose that, we could sink even lower to this 505 area. Now, we had this very, very important liquidity zone right here. And we had this previous breakout that came from 507. So watch that. That's going to be a very, very critical support if we do end up dropping down there. We're looking pretty bearish right now. We're getting a big drop. So be very careful on SPY, guys. Tesla had bad news with the German Gigafactory. Once again, there was a fire very close to it, and Tesla ended up having to halt production. So Tesla is looking bearish. Okay, we failed to hold 182. We lost that support, and we're coming all the way down to about. We're currently at 179. We could get closer to 178. That's where we historically have that support. There's also an imbalance down there. Then we have 175 below that. So there's a risk of Tesla dropping lower. Now, I don't think Tesla's going to drop as aggressively today as it did yesterday, but there is a risk of more downside. So just be careful as we approach support at 178. Watch resistance at 180 and 182.5. Overall, Tesla is looking pretty weak, so please be careful, everyone. There is a risk of more downside amidst all the bad news that came out. For Nvda, before I talk about the QQQ, Nvda not looking so great. So this is exactly what I said could end up happening. So I told you all that Nvidia might pop and establish a lower high, then start sinking. We had this high here, we had a lower high, and we're continuing to sink. We're going to be watching the support right here at 830. I think 836 is minor support, but we have stronger support at 832. If we lose that, there's a gap to fill down here at 826. Then we also have 825 below that. So we're looking bearish on Nvidia. We're starting to sink, so please be very, very careful. On the triple Q, it's also looking quite bearish. Let me actually pull up the other charts. Give me 1 second. So the QQQ is also continuing to sink right over here. The reason for this is because first off, Nvidia has been sinking, other stocks have been sinking, and the whole market is kind of coming down. So I'm going to be looking at this zone right here all the way down to about 434. If we end up losing 436, there's a risk of that. We are sinking as we predicted yesterday. We got a little pop off the data. Remember how I said we might pop and then drop and then watch and see if we can break support or not, depending on the data. Well, look, we kind of popped and dropped here, and now we're just continuing to sink. Watch 436 on the QQQ. If we lose this, 434 is next. And then finally, last but not least, we also happen to have Apple stock. Apple's looking kind of weak. Apple is just continuing to lose support after support after support. We're going to be watching 170. Can we shuffle around 170? If we continue to lose this, there's 169 and 168 coming, 168 being the strongest support. So watch and see if we can hold around this 170 area. We're still looking very, very weak. So please be very, very careful. The levels are very, very tight on Apple, so please watch for that. And there's a risk of 169 coming, followed by 168, so be very careful on Apple. Tesla's barely holding 179. If we lose this, 178 is next. SPY just lost 508, so we're looking very weak. The market is looking weak. I told you guys that Super Micro might see a little pullback. It might pop to 1100, then come back down. We actually went to 1150, now we're coming back down as predicted. Market is red. Almost everything is red as predicted. Coinbase is starting to come down too with the market. Amazon's coming down, so is Meta as we predicted. This is no surprise, guys. I'm not going to break every specific detail down, but I just wanted to warn you guys about this. So that being said, I thank you all for listening. Make sure you watch your levels and just know that there's downside coming. This isn't just me looking at the chart and seeing the stocks dropping and then calling it. I've been calling the downside since Sunday, since my Saturday video, since Friday of last week, I've been saying there's going to be likely a pullback. If you don't believe me, go back to my videos. You'll see it. So I've been saying this for a while, and it's starting to pan out. So thank you for listening, guys. I thank you all for listening. Have a great day. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and peace out.